Hey beautiful, how are you? What does being balanced mean to you? Does it mean being perfect and peaceful all the time? Does it mean that your life is like perfectly organized and rationed out? Do you feel sometimes off balance? Do you feel like you're being pulled in a lot of different directions at the same time? And if so, I'm glad you're here because that's what we're going to be talking about on today's Apothecary Wisdom. We're going to be exploring balance, what it means to be balanced. We're going to be exploring why we're pulled in so many different directions and how to recognize that. And I'm going to share with you some ways that help me find my center. I'm going to share with you about Qigong practices, about meditation practices, and how herbs can help you find your center and feel really deeply rooted in yourself. My name is Maria Chaudhry. I'm a midwife and an herbalist and the creator of Birthsong Botanicals. I'm so glad you're here because balance is a really common topic, hot topic word that I kind of think we don't quite really understand it, but we use it a lot as if it's some like ideal, right? I definitely want to say that balance is not perfect, it's not perfection, and it's not all things being equal at the exact same time. Balance is about moving gracefully through the stages of our lives and through the seasons of our years. So as a woman, we were born girls, we became maidens, then we become mothers, and then we become wise women, right? And boys go from their childhood to boyhood to manhood to fatherhood and to an elder, right? And we gracefully are navigating and finding our way through these stages in our life. And each one of those stages requires different aspects of ourselves to be more prominent, right? So I had a really good friend of mine, his name was Patrick Holloman, and he wrote this book. When I first moved to Fayetteville, Arkansas, I read it, and it's called Watermelons Grow in the Summertime. Because what the book is about is what gardeners already know, is that you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. You have things in your life according to the season of the life that you're in. And a gardener knows this, that watermelons grow in the summer and strawberries grow in the spring. So if you were eating from your garden, you more than likely won't be eating strawberries and watermelons together, right? They'll be at two separate seasons. We forget stuff like that because we go to Whole Foods and we can buy kiwis, and we live in Arkansas. So we're not really acutely aware of what season we're in. And that book really brought that home to me on how important recognizing your season. So it really makes me want to say that being balanced is being in season. And it makes me want to ask you, what's in season for you right now? And you can put it in the comments. Let me elaborate what I mean by what's in season for you. Partially is where are you on the spectrum of your life stage? But this other part of the question is, you have these spheres of your life. You have your career and your finances. You have your health and your vitality. You have your spirituality. You have your hobbies. You have your love and your relationships. Those are all spheres, right? They all want your attention. But which one of those spheres is really prominent for you right now? Which one of those spheres is really asking you to work in it right now? I have a default, like a tendency to, would say, my answer would be, oh, my career. Of course, I'm growing this YouTube channel. I'm growing awareness. I want you guys to know about births on botanicals and know about herbs. I'm finding my voice. This is what's in season for me. It's my work, right? But if I reflect and I'm honest with myself, I'm almost always going to choose my work, no matter what my work is. If I'm a massage therapist, I'm going to say my work is so important. If I'm a midwife, my work is so important. If I'm an herbalist, my work is so important. And so that's a default mechanism. So sometimes my career, that is, I'm in the right season when I'm focusing on my career. But in this current moment, when I reflect what's really asking for me personally is like my relationships, right? But if I constantly focus on my career and not my relationships, I'll never be in balance because I'll be working on the thing in the wrong season. When you can reflect and see which area of your life is really requesting that you pay more attention to it, even though it may not appear to be the thing that is going to help you out the most, because you might be sitting in a situation thinking, I need to grow my business, I need to make money, I need to pay the bills, I need all this stuff. And so it's a little counterintuitive sometimes to work on the other spheres. However, when you work in the sphere, for example, of your love and relationships, when that's what's coming up and growing right now, that's what your intuition and that's what everything is pointing to for you to work on. When you work on your relationships with yourself and with other people, then the ripple out, the nourishing effect and the ripple out and the benefits of improving your relationship then will improve your health, your spirituality, your communication, and of course it'll improve your magnetism, and it'll improve your career, and it'll improve everything else. If you want to improve every sphere of your life, you have to find the one thing that's in season and focus on that. And when you focus on that, then it'll ripple out and improve all spheres. But if you're trying to work on all spheres all at the same time, you're going to be pulled in too many different directions. You'll be out of balance and out of center and really be ineffective. Okay? So my question for you is, what's in season? So, I've mentioned, do you feel pulled in a lot of different directions? Partially, we're pulled in a lot of different directions because we don't recognize what's in season. Another reason is because we just don't know how to say no, right? We're like, okay, yeah, sure. And then before you know it, we live in such a fast-paced society. There's so many events, there's so many opportunities, there's so many things that we want to just be a part of. And before you know it, we're like overscheduled, overbooked, overworked, and we're pulled in so many different directions. And now we're just like burnout. That's an easy one. But another one is because we have so many different spheres and we're multi-dimensional people and we have such capacity to love more than one thing that we want to grow and learn more and develop more and expand more in more than one area of our life. And so then we get pulled in a lot of different directions because we have such full capacities. Another reason we get pulled in so many different directions is because we're evolving, we're changing, we're going from that maiden, mother to wise woman. We're constantly evolving through our lives. And so who we were or what we committed to 10, 20 years ago really was important and served us well. It was so important to us. That's why we committed to it. And then who now, 20 years later, those commitments are still valuable and still relevant, and we still want to stay committed to our commitments. Yet we've grown and evolved and changed, and we're becoming new people. We're growing into our destiny, right? Into this unknown future that feels really exciting and really scary. And also it feels like it's what's happening. And yet we need to navigate those previous commitments with our current growth, and we need to be respectful and honoring of ourselves and of those past things, right? Because, I just want to say, when you start to grow and evolve and change, and you have these previous things, and then you're growing into the future that's unknown, why that's scary is because it's risky. It requires you, in a sense, to leave the life that you know. It requires you to expand and to really, you've been working for something for 20 years, you built it all up around you. Really what you did, in one way it's really beautiful, like security, and another way it's a cage, right? And so if you're gonna leave your cage, that's vulnerable. And I personally want it all. I want to be able to have my freedom and evolve and grow and have comfort and security. But that's not how it works. And so part of the seasons changing, there are hard days in winter when winter becomes spring. There's a lot of confusion. And is it sunny? Is it cold? Is it hot? Should I plant something now or should I not? Oh, that plant just froze. Oh, then I planted it too late. So there's confusion and there's uncertainty, right? And so that's part of the seasons changing and you evolving. So when I feel like I'm pulled in a lot of different directions, my first action always is to find my center. And in order to do that, what I do is I turn my mind inside into the center of my mind. And then I drop my mind, that's my subconscious mind, down into my dantian. And then I've gotten out of my thinking mind, and I'm in my center of my body. And then I can start to just like navigate and feel what's important to me, what I need to be doing in that moment, rather than what's important to me, what do I have to do? Oh my gosh, well, I'm looking for answers everywhere out here. So I come in. Then another fun thing I like to explore is I connect to, and I call it I've always called her my stronger, wiser self. But you know who she really is, your stronger, wiser self? She's really your most vulnerable self. So I connect to my stronger, wiser, most vulnerable self. And that self, that part of myself, is the one that needs to be reminded, like, hey, you're okay. Hey, guess what? I love you for you, not for what you do, not for how much money you make, not for what career you do, not for what you produce, but for you. Okay. My little stronger, wiser, vulnerable self is the one that like needs to be hugged a little bit and reminded, okay, you're safe, you're here, you're okay, you're in your center. So I connect with her and find out what she needs. And then I connect with my future self, the one that's already made the decisions, the one that already knows the right outcome, that already knows what's going to unfold. And so the three of us, we communicate. What does my future self need from me? What does my most vulnerable self need? How do we all serve each other and learn from each other and communicate with each other? And so finding your center does mean getting out of your thinking mind into your body. It also means connecting with the multiple different parts of yourselves and coming into a place of balance with that. Because balance is a form of connection. When you're in balance, you're connected. So you can be connected to yourself, right? Connected to the season that you're in, your life phase. But you're also connected to nature, right? So to be connected to nature, that means you go outside. Go outside at night, look at the stars and the alignments of the planets and how the moon's lining up. going outside right now, as this video is being filmed, we're at the very end of winter and it's about to be spring. So you're outside seeing all the new plants that are blooming and popping up every day. It's different outside. Going outside and seeing like what trees grow near you, what the water looks like in the creek, what birds are nesting near you. Right. Being aware of the greater seasons, like this winter into the spring, into the summer, into the fall, but then being aware of the small little micro environments of your yard. You go from the great things to the small things, and then you become really connected to that. And then you realize you're a part of this ever-changing, amazing universe. And that, of course, you're in flux and in motion. There is no stillness in nature. There's balance in nature, but nature never stops moving. Balance doesn't mean stop. There might be a pause or a stillness, but it doesn't mean stop. Okay? So, sometimes I think we don't really understand what's at stake if we don't live a balanced life, or we don't live our full life or our most fulfilling life potential, because we have all these desires and we want to be balanced, and we sometimes think it means perfect and still and peaceful, but we have this pull to we're evolving and we're changing, but then it means leaving our comfortable cage, and so then we don't really want to do that because we're not really gonna do that because it's a little scary, and so then we stay stuck. Stuck is still, but that's not balanced either. That's a trap, right? You're not balanced when you're in a trap. So we don't understand, we don't make the change sometimes because we don't understand what's at stake if we didn't make the change, if we didn't grow into our potential, if we didn't work on what's in season. So, for example, you want to ask yourself, so okay, what's at stake if I don't pursue my career, my desired career? I've got this job over here and I'm doing this, but I just had this conversation this morning. I've been wanting to do this, but I really want to go to herb school. This Heaven, she really wants to go to herb school. She's been talking about it. And so she's kind of going through her emotions. And then she finally found a school that she might get to go to, and she's really excited about it. But I'm just using that as an example of like you have this, and then you want something, and then and you maybe one day, she hasn't signed up for school yet, but hopefully she knows what's at stake if she didn't sign up for herb school, if she didn't make that school a priority and didn't make that happen. If I didn't go to herb school, I wouldn't be here, right? What's at stake if I don't value my relationships? What's at stake if I don't take care of my health and connect with my body and understand what's happening with my body? What's at stake if I don't value my spirituality and my spiritual freedom? Like, for an example, just on the career level, because that's what my default is, I'm going to talk about my career. If I didn't follow my heart's path, even though I had a lot of obstacles to become a midwife, sure, I wouldn't have gone to all those beautiful hundreds of births, and I wouldn't have had a career that was very fulfilling for myself and offered self-worth, and I wouldn't have been able to be of service for all these families. And I wouldn't have been like a part of like keeping midwifery thriving in our community. But also what's at stake is I wouldn't have been in a situation to inspire other women to become midwives. And so by my being a midwife, I received all those benefits and all those experiences, and then it inspired other women. So now they are midwives and they're carrying on the torch. Like if I didn't become the midwife and they didn't become the midwife, who carries on the legacy of midwifery? Who serves the women? Then that's how things fall and go away. So losing midwifery is a devastating thing at stake. So like what's at stake, it really matters not only for you in your moment, for your little peace and happiness and woohoo, I achieved my desire, but what's at stake ripples out into the future generations and into the globe as a global movement. So your desires that you're being called to, whatever is in season for you to work on right now, is incredibly important. There is a lot at stake if you don't do it, if you don't find your balance and find your connection to that. Okay, so rediscovering balance, so just like you're watching this video because you're interested, you're on this path of self-discovery. I'm on a path of self-discovery. We're all faced with challenges and fears and stumbling blocks, and when the stumbling blocks and the obstacles pop up in my path, now I have a little bit different perspective. But before, when a stumbling block popped up in my path, it was a little bit more like, I don't know, like, move out of my way, block. I would face it head on. I would make it move. It would just have to disappear. Like, it could not be an obstacle in my path because it was an unacceptable thing. And if it was in between me and my desire, I would somehow figure out some sort of way, not really to understand the obstacle, but just to like get past it, just get beyond it so I could get to my desire. But I didn't really see the obstacle. I didn't see the value in the obstacle. Now I see the value in the obstacle almost just as much as I see the value in achieving my desire. Because those obstacles are showing me where I resist, what I'm afraid of, what I'm concerned about. Most of these obstacles they're wonderful teachers, and they're pointing to usually a past pain or trauma or vulnerability that stems from childhood that require you to go back, unroot it, reveal it, and heal that. And then once you do that, then that obstacle just sort of integrates into you. It's not this thing that you have to push aside and get rid of. It's actually something that you need to integrate with and fully understand. So now I see obstacles as teachers and as healers. And so I want to share with you some ways that I have found ways to stay connected to my center and to learn from my teachers and to find a little bit of balance in my life. So, the first thing, if you've heard me talk before, you know I'm going to talk about nourishing herbal infusions because they are, for me, the foundation, primary principle for like wise women herbalism, right? You have a spectrum of herbs. You've got food, medicine, and poison. And nourishing herbs are in the food category. Red raspberry leaf, nettles, oat straw, alfalfa, red clover. Those are herbs that you can drink in copious amounts all the time. And I encourage you to do that because they're rich in vitamins and minerals and they help hydrate you. But not only just for their nourishing and medicinal qualities, but it's in the understanding of nourishment, connecting to nourishment. That's going to help you find balance. The vitamins and minerals are going to help you find balance. But how you process and how you make a nourishing herbal infusion is a really beautiful action. I made a video called Transforming the Simple to the Sacred. I encourage you to watch that. And in this link below, there's a blog post associated to this, and in the blog post there's a whole bunch of information how to make nourishing herbal infusions. So you want to go to the blog post. But transforming simple into sacred and nourishing herbs, it takes time to do it, so it's not fast, it's a process. And you connect with all the elements, with fire and the water and the earth and the vapor and the air. And so you're connecting with the elements, and then when you're drinking your infusion, you're connecting with your five senses. What it looks like, sounds like, tastes like, feels like. And when you can connect with the four elements and your body, you're creating connection and mindfulness and breath. And when you connect your mind to your body, to your breath, you become conscious. And when you become conscious, you're more likely to be in your center, and that's a form of being in balance. So nourishing herbs are my first thing. My next thing are adaptogenic herbs, because adaptogenic herbs by nature are harmonizing and are balancing. That's what they do. They don't do one thing for everyone. They're modulators. So for a person that's stressed out and burns too hot and is overloaded, it helps them calm down. For the person that's tired and depleted and can't really move, it bolsters them up. For a person that has an overactive immune system, it helps settle it so it doesn't respond or autoimmune. A person that has a weakened immune system, it builds it, right? Adaptogens help us cope with the stress of life. They help our bodies, they help our immune system stay strong, they help our minds stay clear, help our emotions stay settled, help our hormones be in alignment and be in balance. I have a whole playlist about adaptogens. I hope you watch that one. The other thing that really helps me be in balance is my Qigong practice. So Qigong is a Chinese word. The word Qi is life force, and Gong means like cultivation. So loosely translated, this is like life force energy cultivation. There are thousands of types of Qigong, so I'm only speaking about it in really broad terms. But think of Qigong as a gentle, mindful movement that connects your body with your breath, that helps you root into the earth, find your center, connect with the cosmos, all for the purposes of meditation and healing. And you know, when I say that, that just sounds like a beautiful little collection of words. But when you really experience within your body, in your life, what it feels like to be connected with your body, and when I say your body, that vulnerable self body, that powerful self body, that little girl and that wise woman and that future mother, all those are present as you root into the earth and you feel your breath and you're in your center and you're unwavering and you're fully expanded and you feel a feeling of a healing or a transition or a transformation that happens. That is profound and life-changing. And so Qigong can offer that, because I know it personally, because I've experienced it and I'm around a lot of people that experience it all the time. So in the link below, back to the blog, there are a few Qigong practices that you can follow along with. And then another beautiful meditation practice that is really comforting and brings a lot of balance and integration, because balance is also integration, is Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is a guided meditation. So you lay down and then you listen, and then you're guided through your body to relax your body. Well, the words aren't even to relax your body. The words are to just observe the sensations of your body, right? You're not doing, you're just observing. But Yoga Nidra has this wonderful practice of bringing to light a sensation that is a sensation probably that you're not really happy with. Like, well, we'll just say anger, right? Feel anger in your body, and then you can feel anger. And so then they ask, what is the opposite of anger? So then you come up with your answer. What is your answer, the opposite of anger? Mine would be peace, right? So feel peace in your body. Okay, go back to anger. Now feel peace. And then anger. And where it feels, where the tension is. And then peace. Now feel both anger and peace at the same time. Can you feel anger and peace at the same time? You can't feel them both at the same time. What you feel is an integration of anger and peace. Anger and peace become something else now, right? What does it become? It becomes, like, for me, satisfied is the word that comes to me. So, because you're angry and you're peaceful, but you're not always angry. And you're not always peaceful. But always you are a little angry and a little peaceful at all times. In our culture, a lot of times we want to just change from anger to peaceful. Just become peaceful. Just be peaceful now. Right? You don't just get to just become one or the other. Really what we're becoming is integrated. And when we become integrated, we become whole. And when we're whole and we're integrated, then we're balanced. Right? Yoga Nidra really talks you through that, where you really feel the sensations of opposing things, and then you integrate them to become, it becomes a new thing. And that new thing is really where we are, where we're wanting to be, right? In that balance place. I recorded a Yoga Nidra meditation for you. Once again, you have to go to the blog post, and it's in the blog post. There's a link to it. So go to the blog post, really. That's what I'm asking you to do. Okay. I will have to say, I've been a meditator for like well over 20 years. Like, I meditate every day, except for this morning. Well, actually, I did meditate this morning. I don't know what I'm saying. I just feel like it's been really a little bit talkative in my head lately. I'm trying to say that Qigong and Yoga Nidra are by far the easiest, meaning the quickest to learn. There's no like getting it wrong. Practices that give you the results that you can feel like immediately. Those are the two styles that I feel are the most impactful, most accessible, with the quickest benefit, rather than a lot of the other forms of meditation that I've practiced before. So I just really want to give you that. So to feel balanced, we talked about being in the right season, being in the phase of life that we're in, finding what's in season for us, being connected to ourselves, multiple parts of ourselves, being connected to nature, nourishing herbs, adaptogenic herbs, forms of meditation, Qigong and Yoga Nidra. But we also, there's another way that we're needing to be connected to, because we're connectors by nature, is to other people, right? It's through our relationships that everything, how did you get your last job? Because you knew somebody, right? How did you go, where to go find that best restaurant? You asked a girlfriend where to eat, right? So it's all through our connections with people, and we crave connection, right? We crave it, we desire it, and if we don't get connection to the desired person that we want or desired people that we want, then we start to connect to objects, like our phones, or a musician is going to connect to their instrument, a computer, guns, people connect to their guns, people connect to drugs, people connect to their pets or their sweet little plants, right? Because we need connection. We're constantly in craving of connection. We're also craving intimacy, right? Yet we're really afraid of intimacy because we think we have to like lose our own personal freedom and lose ourselves in somebody else. When we don't want to lose ourselves in someone else, we feel like we have to have either or. Where I really feel like it is possible to be free and have intimacy, but it does require vulnerability, and it does require all those obstacles that you don't just move them. It requires that you go to them and learn from them, because they're going to reveal something in you that will help you be better able to open up. Because intimacy really means that into me I see, or into you I see, into me. Like look in and see me, right? And that type of intimacy really requires, some strength and some compassion and some forgiveness. But it also requires patience for you to be willing to listen to what the other person has to say. So, I just really wanted to bring up all those pieces of ways to connect, because being balanced isn't about being perfect. It's not about not taking imperfect action. I say take imperfect action. It's not about everything being equal and having it all lined up and clean. Being balanced is pretty messy. There's motion to it, there's movement to it, but it's about being in season. It's about finding that one thing right now that's the most important. So I'm asking you, what's in season for you? And put that in the comments. And I hope this helped you have a different perspective of what balance means and how you can connect with yourself and to connect with other people. Yeah, and connect with me by pushing like and share and subscribe on this video. And until next time, my friends, drink deep and always walk in beauty.